I'm going to make a presentation on how to use the Python code and the Python interface. This is just a IDE. It contains editor and what we'll call compiler. Even though Python is not a compiled language, it is interpreted. We're going to call just the compiler. And what we need to do here, for those that have never done Python before, we just press the new button, which is here, and it will come with this ready. I will just simplify. I will delete this. It's not really necessary right now. So how do we run Python? Well, if I do print, and could be single quotes or double quotes, and I say my first Python example. This on itself is already a program I can run, and I will just click this button right here, this one, the green arrow, and it writes right here. You can see it's saying my first Python example. You already ran a first code. But instead of doing this, I could do something else, such as 5 times 3 equals, and here even in the print command I can do 5 times 3, and instead of having my first Python example, now I should have 5 times 3 equals 15. This 5 times 3, we wrote it right here, equals, comma, then I will multiply and write the result over here. Simple. So I can also do a loop. I do a for loop, and I will do the 5 multiplication table. For example, I can comment this out. This is a comment. The program will not run that. It will ignore. I can use that such that I leave comments in the code. So I explain why I'm going to do things below, and it's a good thing to have to comment the codes. Now, what I can do is do for I in range, and I say from 1 to 11. It will not do 11, it will do 1 before 11. This is something that is annoyance in Python, but that's how it is. And I will tell it to do how frequent, do 1 and then do 2, so every 1. And now my print statement right here will be print, same as before, quotes, 5 times, and then I say comma, I, comma, and then I do space equals space, comma, then I do 5 times I. So let me run this and I'll explain what's going on here. Save this as lecture 1 Python 1, and I will save this. I'll save it right here, Python codes. Now when I run this, what it did, it created the times table. 5 times 1, 5 times 2, 5 times 3, and I did a 5 because I'm sure you all will remember the 5 times per table. So here what happened is, this is a variable I, and change the value of I to 1, execute this, then you go back and now you add this amount plus 1, so it's 2, so be 5 times, and then print this number, which is the I, and then print this, and then print this result, 5 times I, and it will generate this. Let me show you a few things here. I said 5 times 1 equals 5. And it has no dot, so it understands this as integer. Now if I do 5 and say it is a real, and now we'll multiply, you see it generate these numbers. Now instead of just saying the 5 table, I could change this here, and I can change and do the tables for any number. If I say t equals 5, now I can say, instead of having this string, I will convert the number 5, the one right here. So here I will do, there's a command in Python that I do string t, and then I will do, now I need to do multiply by, comma, print the I, then prints equal. Instead of 5 here, we will use the variable t, and we should have the same results, but this will be integer because now I'm saying it is an integer. I can explain this better to you in a minute. So So now you see I have 5 times 1 equals 5, 5 times 2, same as before. If I say this is 10 and I multiply here, now I have the tables 10. Just to finalize this, I see that the table is a bit messed up because here it shifts. So let's say this is 5 again, because we know the 5, and I need to format this better. So there is a way to do this. There are two ways. I will use one, and what it will be here is this. So what I'll do, I'm printing the t, the I, and the results of t times I. So what I'll do, I'll say in Python everything starts at 0. I can force it to start at once for certain values, but the counters start by default at 0. So I say 0, and then I do times. I will not print the 0, 1. It's saying the first parameter, which is this 0 here, represents equal the last one, the 2. And now I do format. Must close this. And you can see here the blue here and the blue here. The ID is helping me close all the parentheses I opened. So this formats the strings. So let me take, I do not need to do this. I only have to pass the values I want printed. And also this sign of equal I already indicate here. So I have to eliminate this. So as you see, I'm going to print the first number in this format, which is the t. And then I will print times. I will print the result, which will be the I for the 1. And the third one, I'll say equal, and the third one will be the 2. Let's see. So I say time 51, and again it comes nicely and it jumps over here. I could even do a little bit better. And this is a little bit more involved. It is nice to understand later on. I'll teach now. It is not very difficult, but I can say I want 2 integers. And the 1, I also want 2 integers. I put the D. If it was a real number, we call it a float, it would be 2f, okay? And then this one, I also wanted 2 integer. Let's see what we get here. And now they are aligned. They get all equally spaced. This 5 is here because it gives 2 spaces for this. So now this is aligned. It looks better. So we need to format every now and then. This is just the first example, and I will stop here. We have another tape for the second example for the first lecture. Thank you very much.